starts with a spark, a vision so clear, where voices unite. There's nothing to fear. Access meets opportunity. We pave the
And so you have it. It's another day in the APAP studio. It's Speak Harmony, ladies. Let me tell you, it's good to be back home in the ATL. We're storming. By the way, this episode is brought to you by our sponsors, APAP Media. APAP Media is a full service creative video and photo production company specializing in podcasting, multi-camera recording, and live streaming. You may contact them at info@apatmedia.com. Again, thank you to our sponsors, APAP Media, and welcome to this another edition of Speak Harmony.
Okay. How you doing, Sharon?
I am fantastic. I mean, just seeing you, my beautiful guest host, Dr. Sharon Reed, the Heart Lady. It's always good. It's always a pleasure to have you.
So I am delighted. I'm sitting in for host Tammy Gammon. And so we are here. We have a show for you. So if you like arts and photography and memories, listen, like cultural vibes,
yes,
this is the place to be. And if you're not sure about it, this is still the place to be. So,
kick it off, because listen, these two, the world is so small, isn't it? Walking into the studio not knowing that you would know these guests. So I want you to just go ahead and introduce them because, look, you knew them before me. I mean, really.
Yeah, it was a pleasure. I was like, I came in, I said, I know you. And then she said, the Heart Lady? The Heart Coach? I said, that's right. So we hugged. It's a small world. And you know what? It teaches us to live good.
Yes.
Right? And so I really want, it's a pleasure for me to introduce Haltia Hill Lati.
Hi.
Definitely, she keeps her clients very, very happy. Captured in Time Productions. I love Captured in Time because isn't that what photography and arts are about? The moment and the memories, right?
Yep.
All right. So Haltia, tell us a little bit about yourself.
So I'm first generation American. My parents came here from Jamaica when they're in their early 20s. And they had us, and they decided that they wanted us to be educated, secondary education in Jamaica. So I was privileged to be able to spend a good portion of my life in Jamaica, really having a deep cultural experience.
Yeah.
And then I could decide whether I wanted to live here or live there or live here or live there. So I've kind of done that. I am married. I have 3 children, and I just love life.
Wonderful. Love life. 3 children.
Yes.
And you're a little bit so.
I know.
Thank you. I can thank my parents for the G.
Absolutely, absolutely. So how did you get started with, better yet, how did you come up with the name Captured in Time?
That part.
So I think throughout my life, I've just always liked to observe what's happening in nature, in life. And, you know, a lot of times people don't have the time to stop and slow down and really capture that or really live in that moment. My father, he was a graphic artist and he always had a camera. So we have so many memories of our past, you know, our life here in America and our life in Jamaica. And I think that's probably where it started. So when I got to the point when I wanted to choose a career, I was always a very talkative person. My mom was like, journalism.
Interesting.
You need to go to do some journalism or something. I was always an extrovert, loved to sing, was in the arts, all of that stuff. And so I did become a journalist, and I realized that I wanted to tell the story more using creative things, abstract things, drive the story with music, drive the story with lighting. So I decided to do a photography course. And then instead of continuing with my education in journalism, I decided to do a master's of fine arts in film.
Oh, wow.
So that just gave me the opportunity to really explore how different things could drive a story forward. And I guess it all came together because I was just always that person who was not afraid to speak up. I was not afraid to represent. I was not afraid to advocate. And so my tools to do that was photography and videography.
Right.
Look at that. That's amazing. Because, I mean, I love this.
Why did you feel as though we needed to speak up in the film and photography industry?
Yes.
I think the underlying thing for me is a story, making sure that somebody's story is heard, especially those who cannot speak for themselves. So one of the things, anything that was something that I really took to, that's what I would try to be able to tell that story. So one example was the autistic community in Jamaica. I ended up volunteering with a special needs school. A dear friend of mine, her mom had started the school because special needs persons, once they get to a certain age, there were no provisions for them in Jamaica. So I was volunteering there, and I just really felt endeared to them. And I was like, this is something that could happen to anyone. Anyone can end up having a child with special needs. Anyone can end up having all of the various scenarios that these persons would have. And so went through my career, and I just always ended up doing human interest stories.
Yeah.
Hey, we're having an issue with traffic violations. So I worked for the Jamaica Information Service.
Oh,
and I
wow.
would just always end up doing those human interest stories. What are things that are current? What are things that, the population needs to hear about? And so after that career and I started to do my own thing, I went right back to autism because there still wasn't any representation.
So let me ask you, I mean, you're delving into that autism space. I mean, how did that bring to light? Because I know, I don't know at this point in time, I'm sure they've advanced since then. I don't know what timeline that was, but autism, even here in the States, I mean, all over the world, I might add, is people are still learning it.
Yeah.
I mean, really, because I am still learning it. And I mean, autism has been around since day one, but the fact that you were documenting, you were exposing it, you were bringing life to it. I mean, what are the steps? I mean, what awareness, more awareness would you say there is that you have brought to this whole topic of autism in Jamaica and here?
So what happened was that I kept just forging forward. The first thing is to talk to the person. You identify that, hey, this is a story here. You don't know it, but it's a story. Yeah. So you identify the person, and then you're like, hey, tell me about your story. Hey, would you like me to talk a little bit more about your story and bring some eyes on it? And that's basically where it starts. So from the high level or the corporate level or the NGO or not-for-profit level, that's what I do. And even for my individual clients, that's what I do. They have a story, they just don't know how to tell it. Yeah. But because of my background, because I wasn't able, when I started that whole autism project, it was when I was at Caramac. It was, part of what I did for one of my final projects, and it was a film kind of, So fast forward in my career in terms of having that experience, that knowledge, who to go to for production and so on, and then having a master's of fine arts, which is like a final degree where you learn about budgeting, you learn about grant writing, all of that. I could say, hey, you have a story and I know how to be able to get it out there with the expertise that I now have. Yeah. So it was after I did my master's in fine arts that I had, and of course I had the experience with GIS, I had worked with TVJ, CPTC, all of that. So I had those connections where I could say, hey, I know how to put this together and get it out there. So what happened was that I did the documentary. Of course, productions take a lot of money. I wasn't able to get financing for it through corporate. So I went to UNICEF.
Interesting.
Grant writing.
Of course.
Yes. UNICEF saw the need.
Yeah.
And UNICEF, they took me through a process where I had to do a grant and have screenings and all of that. We did that. And through that, we were able to distribute it throughout the Ministry of Education Centers.
And what's the name of that project?
Puzzled Living with Autism.
So speaking to that camera, because you know what? Folks watching this need to see that, because there are people who are struggling with that even as we speak. Yeah. And they need to find out that there are resources out there for them. They're not alone. They're not. They shouldn't be isolated. They didn't bring autism on themselves or their children or whatever, their families, and there's nothing to be ashamed of. So go ahead and speak to them, please.
Yeah, so it's Puzzled Living with Autism. And if you're in Jamaica, it's in every single library. There's a DVD that's available to you. There's a part of it on YouTube, and you can watch it there. And, you know, there are lots of resources out there. You just have to ask questions. Don't feel ashamed. Don't feel like you're alone. You know, ask questions and find a support group. Find other parents who are living with children with autism, and you'll get pretty far.
Yeah.
You'll get pretty
Yeah,
far.
absolutely.
I want to ask her one question. Again, what are the 3 words that you would say best describe you? What are those 3 words?
I'm curious. I'm very curious. I am someone who loves to teach. So that's, as I said, the underlying thing about me is I want to share information so that a person can take that information and run with it. And I love life.
Yes.
We could tell. You see
Of
the
course,
smile.
I see
She
that. I
has the
see that. I
smile.
mean, she
And
popped in here, you know.
I noticed as you were talking about story, and I noticed from the pictures that you've taken,
Yes.
you can actually see the story. You can see
story's
someone stand
tell.
up
Yes.
and like, I am the boss.
Yes.
I can see that.
Yes.
Oh, I'm a father with 2 children, and you see the love. And so, you know, being a journalist and someone who takes photographers, is that the terminology?
Photographer, yeah.
Photographer.
Yeah.
A photographer. I can see how you merge both of them together because you're telling a story from each. So tell me a little bit, what does story really mean to you?
So story means what's beyond face value, what's underneath the hood. And you can decide how much of that story you want to tell. So the process that I usually take people through is, what are you comfortable sharing? What do you want people to know? This isn't about me and what I want people to know. It's about you and what you want them to know. And we're going to get to the bottom of that.
Yes.
And so when people leave the experience with me, they feel comfortable.
Yeah.
If they started feeling unsure, if they started feeling like, I always break the camera with my smile or whatever.
Yeah.
At the end, or I'm shy, I don't know what to say. At the end of the experience, they feel like that was very natural.
Right.
That wasn't pulling teeth or anything. Because people want to tell their story. They just have to feel comfortable enough
Yeah.
to tell that story.
And I
And you've
respect
been
the fact
telling
that
stories.
you want the people to tell their side of the story,
Yeah.
because so many others want to embellish the story or change the story to what they think others would want to hear, but having it genuinely coming from them and sharing that and also showing that through pictures, it's powerful. And really appreciate that you're doing that.
Absolutely. And there were some pictures that popped up. I saw them sharing couple of pictures that you've done. I mean, goodness. Can we get just a little?
Think the most
Yes.
rewarding part of the experience of being somebody who captures life is
Yes.
having clients now who I've done their first family photo shoot,
Awesome.
and then I've done their graduation pictures from University
Wow.
of Georgia.
Right.
I love that.
Right.
I
I saw
love
you
that.
had a couple
Yes.
of different type of shoots. So do you have a niche in it, a particular type of pictures that you like to take? I know, or
Oh,
is it just
like this
people?
one right here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Speak to that one, for example.
Yeah, so that was a family who just wanted to really capture their growing boys.
Wow.
It was a while since they did pictures, and so they wanted to capture that. That was a family who had recently moved to Atlanta, and they wanted
Beautiful.
to just capture their story of being in Atlanta, you know, having their 2 children. This was a mother who gifted her daughters a photo shoot.
Awesome.
You know, so I mean, there again, you know, it's the mother, that was their story. They wanted to
course.
capture their boys who are like, they're going to be rising juniors or that kind of
Yeah.
thing. So I'm like, you're the mom. You're
Yes.
looking out
Yes.
on your little boys
course.
becoming men.
Yeah.
Let's do a picture in the house of you just looking at them with their dad, you know,
Yeah.
looking at them having that experience. So that's something that I really always think about, whether it's video production or photography.
How did that intersect though with your career? I mean, production and photography. How did that intersect with your career? Would you say?
So they're very close. Video is pretty much moving pictures. You know, that's how film started. It was like picture on picture on picture, and they ran it very quickly. And that's how it became moving picture, video.
Of course.
Right? So it's all, lighting, what's in the frame, all of that goes across the two disciplines.
Yeah.
And you said you have 3 children now. Which of your 3 children? Because I know there's one of them that's kind of sort of buzzing around that whole idea of getting a little bit of your genes. What would you say of the 3? Which would you say is that one? Or all 3?
They're all 3, and
Wow.
they're always on my phone and trying to take the picture themselves. And I would say that the journey started with my eldest, though.
Yes.
Because when I had him, I was between doing my master's and I was between having done my first degree and in the career and saying, I know I want to do a master's. So when I started doing photography, he was very small and he was my muse. So when I had a project on emotion,
Yeah.
he was a little toddler. So the crying,
Yeah.
I would,
You would
stop the
capture
crying.
that moment in time. That's right.
If I needed to show motion blur, to
Yeah.
show him going somewhere,
Yes.
he was always on the go, ready to go to the park. So I would capture that. So he's always been my subject. And,
that.
I would take him on photo shoots with me sometimes so that he could learn a few things. And just recently, I upgraded my equipment because the equipment does matter.
Of course.
Right? A cell phone cannot do what a
That's
professional
right.
camera can do.
Yes.
A first generation camera cannot do what a current camera does. We talk about
Wow.
standard definition, HD. Now we're at 4K, and next year you'll be at something else.
Yeah.
Wow.
So just like how your phones go up in generations, cameras do as
Cameras
well.
do.
So he's got my second generation camera now, and he's the one telling his friends, "Hey, you need a photo shoot? Hey,
Wow.
your graduation party is happening."
And how old is this young man?
He's 16.
I love it. So we're talking about entrepreneur junior. I mean,
This
he's
is
quite
great.
I like that. And he's an artist too. So, I mean, I see that, coming into play.
Yeah.
I mean, and how do you expound on that? Because, I mean, at 16, he's going to be heading out of the house soon for college or his next step. So
Yeah.
is he doing this professionally? I mean, what's he doing?
He's trying, he does abstract art. So I saw that he had that entrepreneurial bug. So I put him in entrepreneurship camp. Shout out to My True Biz. I think
Love it.
Lisa McDonald.
Yes.
Nice.
My True Business, they have an entrepreneurship camp. So I put him in there and they helped him to really conceptualize a business concept and do a product. And the product was really good.
All right.
Awesome. And you have a few
So,
pieces of his art
I do.
somewhere around here because I know you
Proud
brought him in. It's stormed here, so he couldn't make it here.
Yes.
But he would have been in. Who's what's his name?
Justin.
Justin.
All right. Shout out to Justin
Yes,
and your
definitely,
proud
Justin.
mommy, and
Yes,
keep on doing the
awesome,
work.
awesome.
Yes.
What kind of tip? I know you say the phones are not the best, but this is what the young folks are doing. So let me tell you, disclaimer, I still can't take a great selfie. My daughter is like, "It's the angle, Mom. It's the angle." And I'm like,
You and I are in
okay.
the same boat, Sharon. We're both here.
What tips could you give someone who is interested in photography and if they're doing a selfie? That's kind of like for me.
So angles do matter. Angles tend to give a different look. So a high angle lets somebody look smaller. So if you're generally, it looks more flat for a woman.
Did you just say hi?
Hi.
Got it. Now I know why. That's
Yeah.
secret
So
out, guys.
that's what.
So when you do
high
this-
Right,
makes you
little
look.
high. Yeah, so
Got it.
it does contour.
Got it.
Women are always trying to
Interesting.
contour
Yes.
their makeup
That's
and all
right.
of that.
That's right.
A
Wow.
higher angle is going to show certain contours. Whatever's closest to the camera is going to be bigger. So if you don't want your face to look too big,
Yeah, and I
pull it
see
back
that
a bit.
sometimes. Pull it back.
Yes.
Okay. All
Yeah.
right. And it's
So-
best to have it on a
Interesting.
stand or something so it could be, or
There you
does
go.
it matter?
If you have a steady hand, it doesn't really matter if it's on a stand or not.
Okay.
If you're doing something like a Zoom presentation,
Yes.
it's good to have your computer at eye level and for you to look in the camera.
Yes, I hear that. I find that so
Yes,
difficult
yes.
because we're always looking at ourselves. Is this okay?
Yeah.
Is this okay?
Yes.
It is
But it's
difficult.
true. So
Right.
eye level
Eye
into
level
the camera.
into the camera.
That's a great
Thank
tip.
you. Great
and one
tip.
more thing, the lighting.
Yes.
Front of you, to the side of you, both.
Behind,
and the
left
people
side,
who
yeah.
have on glasses,
Yeah.
you always see the ring. So what do you do
Yes.
to prevent that?
So with the ring, you could tilt your head down a bit. Or
Okay.
you just kind of play around with it. So I had on my glasses earlier and the lights were shining. And once I tilted my head down a bit, that went away. So you play around with it and see how it goes.
Interesting.
Lighting, once again, it depends on what you're trying to achieve. So this is why when you want to do a video production, come to somebody who's trained,
That's
because
it.
they know the difference.
Get
That's
the
right.
get
Get
to the
the
professional
professional
to
if
do
it's a
it.
professional
And there is a
thing.
way because when they
Yes, there's
it's-
psychology behind it.
of course.
So when you certain colors, you know
Yeah.
about color
Absolutely.
psychology,
Yes.
all of those things.
Yeah.
If you're wearing a white shirt, that halo, it's gonna bounce some light on the face. So if you want to look more
Yes.
bright, you wear white. If you don't, you wear some black to
So we are getting tips from the
Tips for days. That's what I'm talking about. Tips for days. And
you
this is
for-
stuff that you would have to pay dearly for.
that's
Yeah.
right.
So, and
So it
before we
all
go, because
matters.
time's winding down on us, and we want to put Justin out on front page.
thank
You have some pieces of his art. Can we share it a little bit? Because we want to make sure Justin gets some exposure. He couldn't be here today, but we want to make sure,
He's got-
you know.
Where do I put it? Oh, there it is.
Yeah.
Yes.
So he's got, he does what's called pouring paint. So
Nice.
whichever way you look at it, whichever way
Yes.
you turn it,
Yeah.
it's very dynamic.
Yes.
And
Wow.
he does other types of pieces too. It depends. He can be commissioned to do something. So he does other types of pictures. This is probably something that you'll see more common, like in a TJ
Yes.
Maxx
Yeah.
or a Ross.
Yes.
With the gold leaf
Yes.
touch. I
The
love
gold
that.
leaf.
Yeah.
Wow.
So he's grown as, the demand has come.
Yeah.
Yes.
And he keeps pushing himself.
I love
so
it. So he's a photographer, an artist. He's the whole. But look at his mom. I mean,
Mom, that's
what do you-
right.
what do
In
you
training
expect? Yes,
and going
I
to
mean-
entrepreneur school. I mean,
hello.
So this
I mean,
is it.
seriously,
So-
how can they reach you though? If folks that are watching, how can they reach you? Share your information with them, please.
yeah, so anybody can reach me. My email address is capturedintimeproductions@gmail.com. You can visit my website, capturedit.biz. That's where you'll see a lot of my work. I tend to not be the person who's going to post too much.
Oh, there we go.
I don't tend to post too much. And I feel like organically people come to me.
Yes.
Once again, if you have a story that you want to be treated with respect, that you
Wow,
want
that
to be
word.
treated authentically,
Yes.
that you want to get out there, then I'm your person. I'm very proud of the work that I do and the people that I work with, because oftentimes their stories are not told, but it's something that the world needs, or this something that the world can benefit from. So I tend to work with a lot of not-for-profits, life coaches, companies who are trying to get the word out there about the things that they're doing for their clients, the products that they're selling that are going to really provide a service to their clients. So that's, yeah.
Yeah, and also you can look her up on LinkedIn.
Yes.
And you have
Yes.
some great testimonies. I mean, it is for a photographer and for an artist for them to say that you're patient.
Yes.
And that you really helped capture them in time, and using that terminology is definitely a testament to your expertise. And so we want to thank you for sharing your time
Absolutely.
with us.
Yes.
It's my pleasure.
Well, we got 2 more seconds, and we're gonna squeeze it in, because I mean, what's the one takeaway you want? One thing that you would like people to know about you? I mean, honestly, what's that? That final thought.
So I'm an artist through and through. It's just part of me. It's part of me. I will see the art in something. I will see the beauty in something that others won't necessarily see. And that's what I'm after. That's what I'm after capturing. That's what I'm after showing you.
Of course.
Many clients, after they've seen it, they're like, wow, that's how I look. I'm like, yes, that's how you look. And
Yeah.
I've been saying gorgeous, not because I'm
Yes.
just behind the camera saying
Yes.
gorgeous. I'm saying it because you're gorgeous.
Yes.
Yeah,
You know,
it's so important. To
I
make
love
people
her. I
feel
need to get her.
comfortable.
I need to employ
Yeah.
her. I need to get close to you, because I mean, this is what we want to know. Because there are people out there who are not photogenic like myself. I can't stand.
Don't tell her that. She's
I can't stand
beautiful.
taking pictures. I absolutely hate taking pictures.
Yeah.
I take it and then I'm my biggest critique.
Yeah.
And so I see it and I go, delete that one. I want to select my own pictures. And I know that is the case for a lot of people.
Of course.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, that's why we're thankful for people like you.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, you just make us beautiful even when we're not.
Yeah.
Or we don't feel we are.
Yeah.
That's right.
We
Teach
all
us how to
Thank you.
pose and
Yes,
show
yes.
our what we
Yes.
call
Angle,
our
what
good
color.
so yeah, the
Angle.
colors, yeah.
Right.
And not to
So
wear
important.
this and
Yeah.
angle. Oh,
Yeah.
You don't feel
girl.
comfortable smiling, let's take the picture with you smiling. Let's take one without you smiling.
That's it.
Half the time they choose the ones with them smiling. So
And
Yeah.
it's-
I'm still learning how to make my eyes smile.
the smile.
I love it. I love it. I love it.
Did you catch
Oh,
that?
I
Let's do
love
that
it.
one more time.
Do it again, girl.
Come
I
on.
love that. I love
Let's
that.
catch that.
Oh, I love it. Wow.
Nice. Look at that.
Yes.
Beautiful.
Yeah,
girl.
I've been on a few sides of it. So I've done
course.
commercial modeling, I've done videography,
Yeah.
I worked as a producer, I've
Yeah.
worked as a writer and a presenter.
Oh my
So I've
gosh.
been on all the sides of it as well.
Yes.
And so I kind of know what people feel.
Yeah.
And I kind of know what those hangups might be.
Yeah.
You know, I can tell a cameraman, hey, zoom out because it's too
Yeah.
tight of a shot for them.
Yes.
Or let's get some more on whatever. I can do that because
Wow.
I've been on all
You've
other
been there.
sides of
Yeah.
it.
So we're going to practice smiling with
Girlfriend.
our eyes. Thank you again
I
so
love
much.
it.
All right,
appreciate
folks.
you.
Remember her name and check her out. Right, Captured in Time Productions.
Yes.
Miss Haltia.
Yes. Emphasizing.
Lati Haltia.
Emphasizing.
Yes.
All right.
Oh my goodness. Thank you again for coming in. We appreciate you. Wow. This is wow. So welcome back to the second segment of Speak Harmony. Ladies and gentlemen, if you think our first half was crazy bad, let me tell you, this whole studio is burning up tonight because we've got two fireballs in here. We've got one just ended and we've got another fire lady who's filled with fire. When I tell you, Sharon, this lady, she is a librarian, been a librarian for over 30 years, 30. And don't look a day over 40. So I don't know where you started at 3.
Next year. For the second time.
For the second time.
Go ahead,
Start
girl.
something else.
I know. Yeah. Just retire and go into another phase. I like that. So you discovered your passion with Caribbean cultural programming in 2008, it says.
Well,
Tell us about that.
my
and where.
passion, it started long before
Of
that,
course.
actually, because, for work, I had to do programming as a part of my job, and I figured might as well do something I like. I'm not somebody who's just going to do something because I'm told to do something. It must work for me, and I must like it. So I had always been obsessed with the Caribbean from a young child because I grew up in Jamaica, born and raised, but my father was not Jamaican. He was Barbadian. So, so I was fascinated. But, among all my siblings, I'm the only one who cared. So, I just devoured everything I could about other islands. And, I was always just fascinated by the fact that I had cousins in other places. And at our Caribbean American Heritage Month kickoff this year, a couple of weeks ago, I heard the artist Rukumba Ned. He expressed something that it was just the way I felt, that I was growing up on an English-speaking island, and there were Spanish-speaking islands, French-speaking islands, Dutch-speaking islands, and I was just fascinated that there was this diversity of cultures and so on all through the Caribbean, and that has not left me in all these years.
And so, Monica, I just want to ask you, that last name that you bear,
Yeah.
I struggle with pronouncing it. So, I mean, forgive me. I don't want to jack it up. I mean, Monica Fotheringham.
Fotheringham, yeah. Just like
not
how,
too bad.
Just,
You did
just
good.
like how, yeah, I sound like I should have a castle somewhere.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes,
My
yes,
point.
yes.
My
Well,
very
I
point.
do have a
Not yet.
castle
Not yet.
But yes, it's very British, you know.
Oh.
Oh, yeah, it comes from our colonizers, I
Yes.
am sure. And I have seen, you know, there are a lot, it's more frequently spelt with a TH than with a D.
Oh.
Yes, and that's very popular. You see the name quite a bit, especially in Britain, of course.
Yeah.
But yes, you
And
know,
what part of Jamaica you're from?
I grew up in Maypen and Mandeville. I went to Glenmuir High School.
That's right.
But we grew up all over the place because my father was a minister, so they sent him all over the island, and but that was where we settled down. When I was ready to go to high school, they finally settled down. I didn't like all the moving up and down all over the place. My siblings loved it. They thought it was an adventure. I wanted stability. Still do.
Wow.
Yes, that's where I grew up.
So, Monica, you said earlier that you were the only one who cared. Talk to a little bit about what do you mean cared?
I have been trying to get the rest of my family to go to Barbados for years, to go with me, and I can't get them to go. My father took us as children.
Yeah.
Right.
And since then, none of them have gone. Even
Really?
I have three daughters, three grown daughters. My youngest, I took her to Barbados 11 years ago. So she got to see, she gets it because she went
Yes.
to see, she got to see how tied in we were to our family there. And the others, my other two, one of whom, my middle daughter, she's doing her PhD in comparative literature right now.
Wow.
She is studying Jamaican dialect. One of my cousins in Barbados was a Caribbean dialectologist.
Ah.
I
Wow.
asked
And what is
her-
that?
I tried. He was a language man. He taught
Linguist.
French
Wow.
and
Yes.
Spanish
Linguistic.
for years. Almost looks like he taught the whole of Barbados. He was known everywhere we traveled with him. And I tried to get her to go and meet her cousin, and she didn't. And sadly, he passed away.
Oh.
Actually, I think it's a year today.
I'm sorry.
It's a year today that I got the news that he had passed away.
Well, we thank him for his contribution.
Absolutely,
yeah, we thank
of
him for his
course.
contribution, but sadly, a lot of our family information
Yeah.
died with him.
Yeah, it's so important. I really wanted to
Right.
say that
Yes.
the families, you know, we have gotten so dispersed,
Yes.
and especially more of this generation has not really picked up on the importance, the significance of
Documenting.
family and documenting.
Yeah.
You know, recently we just heard of what we call, one of my friends said, we've lost another father in the village. I
Yes.
just thought that was so beautifully
Yes.
put.
Yes. Yes.
You know, and our prayers go out to him. But it's important because look how much knowledge he had to
Yes.
share, and you never know. So
Yes.
being able to talk about that, and it just reminded me, my son gave a book last Kwanzaa, a book that says, Mom, I want to know your story. And
Oh,
one
wow.
that says, Dad, I want to know your story. So documenting, as both of our guests have said, our stories matter, and our stories create the legacy, and it helps to bring out that confidence of who they are and who we are as a people.
Yeah, I'm
Of course, and then
passionate.
carry, and you have a continuum
Yeah.
in the process because you don't want it dying with you.
Yeah.
You want your
to hear
story
a
to continue.
Yes.
Oh yes,
You
We
want
love
to hear-
stories.
We
right,
love
Elsie?
stories, girl. That's why we're here.
You want to hear a story?
Tell us.
I
Yes,
want
tell
to
us.
tell.
Yes,
The fact, and it has only hit me that, you know, even the fact that I am here living is a miracle, not because of me, but my father in 1955, he was a young sailor. A lot of the young Bajans they went to sea. That was one of their job opportunities. In the night of I think July 17th, 1955, everybody had gone to bed, and a ship. They were in the Bocas del Dragon. It's this shark-infested area of water between Trinidad and Venezuela. Another ship was coming in their direction. The captain who should have been piloting the ship was drunk. The ship came and sliced right through my father's ship. Of the 42 crew, 20 died. Wow. Only one body was ever recovered.
Oh, wow.
My father did not speak to us much about it. We now know that was trauma.
Of course.
Yes. And, so we've known this story all these years, and I'm now just trying to just gather up pieces of this story. But I have been fortunate enough to meet the last survivor of that shipwreck.
Wow.
Yeah, I met him in Barbados. I've gone to Barbados twice on cruises, and I've spent some time with him ashore and everything. And he's about 92, 93, and he still remembers the night it happened.
Wow.
Really? So you were able to capture the essence of all of that, really, that wreck.
Yes, and he reiterated some of the little my father told us.
Mm-hmm.
And so my father, after that, he never went to sea again, and he decided to give his life to the Lord, and he went to train in England as a church army captain in the Anglican Church. And he came to Jamaica for a limited time mission, and that is where he met my mother.
Wow.
And so he was just supposed to be there for a limited time, but he never returned to Barbados because he met my mother.
Of course.
And the rest, as they say, is
It's history, her story.
My father jokingly said that he saved her from being an old maid.
But look at his production. I mean, come on now,
Yes,
wow.
That's a story. And I'm really passionate about people telling their own stories. And
Yes.
to that end, are you all familiar with StoryCorps through the Atlanta History Center?
I'm not.
Yeah, it's where people can go and converse with one another, or tell their stories and everything.
So you've got to tell us and tell the audience that, because listen, we don't know about it.
StoryCorps, StoryCorps. And I have done about 15 of those StoryCorps interviews, one of which was chosen. You'll hear excerpts from it on
Saturday?
On WABE, I think on Friday morning. Yeah, PBS.
Okay.
So one of mine was chosen to air. It's
Congratulations!
Thank you.
You're amazing.
Excerpts. Yeah, and it was one I did with my youngest daughter just before she left to go to college, and we did that before she went to college, and we did another one after she graduated. She left and she went to Georgetown, and her time there was not a straight line, and it veered in different directions and so on. Yeah. But we came back afterwards and spoke about that and everything. But I have interviewed many different people just to get their stories.
Yeah.
And among the people I have spoken with most is my mother, because we didn't want to make the same mistake that we made with our father.
Absolutely.
Not getting his story. Yeah. And about my mother? Did I tell you all about my mother?
No. Tell us about your mom.
She just passed away in January of this year. 6 weeks before her 100th birthday.
Oh, really?
Yes, we were planning her 100th birthday party, and she passed away 6 weeks before. I saw her the night before, and I'd never seen her look more glowing.
Yes.
There was no
Yes.
indication that she was not sick.
Yeah.
She had all of her faculties.
Wow.
So she would, this is going to be my first time I'm going through programming for Caribbean American Heritage Month without her being there.
I'm sorry.
So, it shows that no matter how old you are, I guess you do want to impress your
Yes.
parent.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
yes. And I know
And-
I've seen her.
yes.
I've met
really?
Monica at the Atlanta Fulton Public Library. So talking about stories, she shares the stories with the Caribbean and American communities
yes.
at large. And so tell us a little bit about got you interested in doing the films. And I think it was just so appropriate that as a librarian, you were able to show films from different Caribbean islands. Talk a little bit about that.
It's much more involved than people realize. It's sourcing the films and not having a budget for the most part, even when I was doing it on behalf of the library. So it's being creative because one has to pay licensing fees to show the film.
Wow.
I have had to pay anywhere between $50 and $400 for the license to screen a film once for free. So it's very involved. So, when I decide on a film, it's trying to get some community members or community organizations to
sponsor.
the
Yes.
licensing of the film. Sometimes Auburn Avenue Research Library could buy the film as a part of their collection, and then I could screen it. But it's just, I just had to be very creative. As a librarian, I'm a trained problem solver. So, it's, I just had to be creative to show these films. And over the years, and people don't understand that, over the years, there have been some in our community who have said, why are you only showing films from X country or Y country or whatever? They think it's like just going to a shelf and taking down a film and screening it.
Yeah.
No, it's much more involved. So I try to tie in my films with every year the Georgia Caribbean American Heritage Coalition focuses on a country or an area of the Caribbean, and sometimes I try to tie my films in with that if I can. It's not always possible, but I really do like to show the audience that we're not a monolith. We are the British Caribbean, the Spanish, French,
The
Dutch
Dutch,
Caribbean,
yes,
even
yes.
Danish. The Danes
Yes.
were in the Virgin Islands for a hot second.
Scott, Ireland.
Yes,
all of that. Yeah.
Montserrat
Yes.
is very
Yes.
Irish.
Yes.
It's the only island that celebrates St. Patrick's Day. So we're just so diverse. But some islands do not yet have films. But over the years, I'm proud to say that I've screened a wide variety of films.
Yeah.
But I will tell you, and I don't take no for an answer very well, but I really a few years ago, I went to Dominica, and I went to visit a Kalinago village. Those are who we were taught, the name was Caribs. Remember, we were taught
yes.
that there were cannibals and savages and everything. I went to visit a Kalinago village, and I was just fascinated. I was blown away. Well, the village looked like, I said, this must be what heaven looks like.
Oh, wow.
You
And this is
know,
in Dominica.
Yeah, this is in Dominica. And
Interesting.
so, you had these, and Dominica is a blue zone where it has one of the most centenarians
Yes.
in the world.
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
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 That's an interesting
Yes.
fact.
I've met a
I didn't
few
know that.
Dominicans, and
Yes.
it's not from DR.
Right.
And so when you say that, you have to be so
Right.
careful to distinguish
Dominica.
Dominica and
the Dominican
not the Dominican
Republic.
Republic,
Not
because
DR,
a lot of
huh?
people automatically go there.
Go,
Right.
And so we want to make that clear because yes, there
Yeah.
is an island
Yes.
by that name, and so yes, there's some
Yes.
fascinating people.
Yes,
Very
and,
fascinating.
Right, and I want to show a documentary about them. After I went to visit, I since heard about a documentary. But the filmmakers, in order to get the documentary made, promised the Kalinago people that they would get some of the funds from making this. So it is the licensing fees are $6,000. So I haven't been able to get it this year, but I'm working on it.
And guess what? In your midst, I'm going to throw that in there because in your midst, this is how God works things out. In your midst, right here in this space, you've got that person. And so this is why we make connections here at APAP Media. We're not joking when we say that. We speak harmony and we're real about it. So it wasn't by happenstance that you came in today. And just prior to you sitting right where you are, we had a beautiful person who works in that space. So that's where collaboration takes place, you know?
Absolutely.
Right.
So we're going to get this done. There's a lady here that says we're one Caribbean. We're one people separated by water. And if we're not careful, we will be separated if we allow them to. So what we have to do is embrace each other because we're one people.
Yes, and that informs
I love
what
this.
I do because
Wow.
I'm not just with one association.
Of course
not. Just
not.
with my country's
No.
association.
Yeah.
I'm with the wider Caribbean Association.
Yeah, and I love that.
Yes, but I also call myself a hustler because I am going to get that film.
Yes, you will.
It's a must, and I'm
It's a
sure
done.
that there
It's
is
a
a
done deal.
viewer out there
Yes.
that is also willing to help sponsor and
Yes.
ask
That's it.
someone who can ask someone.
Yeah.
So definitely.
Right.
course.
I told them, that I'm a community organization.
Yes.
We don't have any funds and so on. They said the least that they could charge for licensing is $3,000. So but it just so happens that I have family over there too.
In Dominica?
Well, yeah, in Dominica because by marriage, one of my cousins married a
Interesting.
Dominican man. Unfortunately, she just passed away last year. In the space of
Sorry.
a few months, I lost 4 cousins no, 5 cousins, I think, on 4 islands.
No way. I'm
Yeah.
so sorry, Monica.
Some were
My
different
condolences.
degrees of closeness,
Yeah.
but, I knew about them because I'm the one in my family that
Keeps
up.
the
Yes,
history record.
you're the historian
Right.
of the family. You
Yeah.
are.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
It makes
Rightfully
sense
so.
that you're in the cultural.
Right.
That
So
part.
she goes out. Yeah, you definitely have to.
You're
document
suited
some
for
more.
that.
Yes.
Absolutely.
But we know people.
Yeah.
We know. Look, and there are people watching us now, just like Dr. Reed said. Sharon just said it. She just spoke it into existence. So
Right.
before the show is over, or when the show is over, this podcast is over, your phone will be ringing.
I hope so.
I know
You
so.
know?
I know so. I know
You
so.
know,
Yeah, so I'd like to bring up also
Yes.
that what Monica does. I'm not sure if you're still doing it, but it was very interesting that when she would have the films, she would not just show the film, we would talk about it.
Oh.
So she would have guests who would talk about it,
Oh, I
and we'd
love that.
dialect maybe the authors of the documentary, but also very special. She used to have spelling bees.
Yes.
Tell us about the spelling bees.
Oh my gosh.
gosh,
You do everything because she's an author too.
I mean,
She's an
spelling
author.
bees with the
spelling bees, of
Caribbean
course.
terminology.
Yes,
It is
yes.
beautiful.
I love that.
I will tell it, and this is it's just kind of how I did it. It's like my youngest daughter said to me. She said, "Mommy, did you just wake up one day and decide to have a spelling bee?" And it's kind of like, yes, because we all came up through spelling bees.
Yes.
Right.
I was one.
I tell my American friends, I said, we are very competitive.
Yes.
Not just on the track.
Yes.
We are competitive with everything. So spelling bees are big. And unfortunately, I have not been able to, wasn't able to do it last year.
Yeah.
And I was trying to bring it back again this year, but I couldn't find a venue because all the libraries that I would, think of using were being used as voting precincts.
Okay.
But I told people to mark the date. I already have the date for next year for the spelling bee because, yes, I love films, but hands down, the spelling bee is my favorite because
it.
that was us.
Yes,
That's
yes.
right.
But guess
that
what? You
was
have a
the-
location.
Yes.
You already have a
You will be-
location.
We got a location
Yeah.
for you, so
Yes,
don't worry about
yes.
that. Yes.
Yes, and
Yeah.
and then at the kickoff, there are people there who want their children to be in the spelling
That's
bee.
right, and they are so cute, and it just
God, of
we're
course,
so
adorable.
proud of some of the terminology
course.
that they use. It was so funny years ago when one of my children were in taking their SATs, and he came home. He says, "Mommy, Vex is a word, you know. Jester is a word. I was like, yes. So they need to know these terminologies.
Yes.
So absolutely.
And actually, I'm proud of the fact that one of my spelling words was a championship word in the Scripps spelling bee, I think, 2 years ago, Bougainvillea.
Oh, wow.
Bougainvillea won. It was the year when there were
love
like
that.
8 winners.
Yes.
Bougainvillea was one of those words. And I think I even have bunununus as a
Bunununus.
Bunununus.
Tell us, Bunununus.
Tell us about that. What
Tell us
does that mean? Because people are going, Bunununus, what is that? We know what it means, I think.
You know, it means like something nice and so on. So one year, one year, I had one of my friends. She was the announcer, and she missed a page, and so she thought she had finished the list of words. And the kid who eventually won said, "No, you're not done. You haven't told us that," and listed all the words that she hadn't announced. and
Wow.
everything. So yeah,
Is that joking?
are
No, they're
really
not.
into it, and they get nice prizes.
Of
too.
course.
You know,
Yes,
I'm not
yes.
just going to have kids up there spelling their heart out for nothing.
Yeah.
Well, you do everything, Monica. I mean, from
Talk
a
about-
librarian to storytelling to this. You're also
Author.
girl for author. But then not only that, tell us about the dog because I mean you pet
advocate.
animal advocate.
Yes.
You do that kind of stuff.
So,
Oh my, there's nothing she doesn't do.
so Jude, I knew when I got my dog Jude, I had to tell his story.
Yes.
I didn't know he would have made me an author, but his story, the book is titled Jude, the Dog Who Came to the Library.
Yes.
Because that is how we found him. He came to the library, and that was like the second of like 3 dogs we had found at the library, and we had called Animal Services to get them. But just that morning, my daughter Jordan said to me, she was getting ready to go back to college. She said, "Mommy, you know, we have to see about getting a second dog. We have to do that before I leave for school." And here comes this very friendly dog. I saw him out in the parking lot. I thought he belonged to the people he was, playing around with. And I said, "No, he doesn't belong to us." And so we took him in and we called Animal Services. And they came to get him. And I just remember telling him, "Bye, doggy," when he left. And then we couldn't stop thinking about him. And we went and got him, and we adopted him. Sadly, and this is also coming up to the anniversary, Jude got sick. It was right in the middle of my film festival last year, so I think it was the 28th of June. I came home after the Saturday screening, and he looked like a monster.
Oh.
And I was just screaming into the phone to my daughter, "There's something wrong with Jude, something wrong with Jude." Took him to the
vet.
hospital, and they said it looks like he has lymphoma.
Oh.
And we took him home. They got the swelling was so monstrous. I had to take those pictures out of my phone.
Yeah.
I couldn't stop looking at them, but I didn't need to see them.
That's right.
So they put him on steroids, and he was with us until November, so from June to November. And I was just talking to one of my daughters about it last night, because his last days were awful. He suffered a lot. And I still keep those pictures. I really don't know why, because I shouldn't be looking at them. But it's coming on to the anniversary now of when he got sick. So this is kind of a rough time for me, and I've been thinking about it a lot
so
the past few days. But the good thing is that Jude made me an author. I had to tell his story.
Yeah.
I had to get the word out about the love this dog, Jude, and my other dog, Jackson, brought into our home. As an empty nester now, I love my dog.
Good.
And I'm actually, even though I'm sad that Jude has left us, I am glad to have my time with Jackson because he's an older dog. He's 11. And I don't know how much time I have left with him. So, Jude was an attention hog of the highest order. So
Wow.
Jackson could not get any attention when Jude was around.
Around, yeah.
So, Jackson now has all of my attention.
Relishing in all of that
Yes.
attention.
He's just a really chill
Yes.
dog and
Yeah.
everything. Yes, but Jude made me an author, and so that's one thing off my bucket list. And I have more writing I'd like to do. Of course, my father's story,
Yes.
Yeah.
which my ultimate hope is to develop that into some sort of film, whether a documentary or a feature, a narrative film.
Yeah.
Check.
Yeah.
That's done.
So
That's
talk,
done.
right?
Tell us
So
tell us
talking
about the
about film,
Yes.
You got something very big, coming up this
weekend.
Saturday.
Yes.
Talk to us
But
about
this
that.
whole weekend.
Yes,
No?
well,
No,
it's-
next
it's
Is it in
because
Friday?
Saturday.
Saturday? Okay.
Yeah.
Because, in all of what I have, so it's kind of involved, but I still have my day job, which I used to do this as part of my day job. I now work for the DeKalb County Public Library.
Wow.
Where it's not a part of my day job. So I am only doing it one day.
Okay.
And I got started planning late, because of my mother's death and so on.
I'm sorry.
So we have 4 films on Saturday focusing on the Maroons.
And there they are.
Yes. Not just the Maroons in Jamaica, but the Maroons. So I have the first film is Center of Earth, the Maroons of Moortown, that's in Jamaica. Then there is the Jamaican Maroons in Nova Scotia, Canada. And then, so the feature presentation is going to be Queen Nanny, legendary African chieftainess. That's Dr. Harcourt Fuller's film.
Oh,
so
yeah.
he is going to be there.
Oh, good.
And I'm going to have my daughter Jackie interviewing him,
Interesting.
about, just moderating the Q&A.
Okay.
And then the last film is going to be Aluku Liba, Maroon again. It's a film I have shown previously, and it's about the Maroons in French Guiana and Suriname. Again, I like to be able to open people's eyes to Maroons are not just Jamaica,
Well, the word Maroons refers to being shipwrecked.
Right.
So it was where they were placed.
Wherever they were placed.
So
It happened.
This is, and give us the date again.
This is this Saturday, June 21st.
And where will it be?
What's the
It's
location?
going to be at the Atlanta Fulton. It's going to be at the Fulton County Central Library, downtown Atlanta, 1 Margaret Mitchell Square. If that doesn't come up on your GPS, it's at the intersection of Forsyth and Peachtree Streets.
And it says RSVP, because if I remember correctly, is there a necessity? No.
But, it's basically, I would love to have your contact information on
yes.
my email list.
Absolutely.
But please, there's no, you're not going to be stopped at the
Yes.
door and
Of
ask
course.
for your RS. But
Yes, and it's a nice auditorium.
yes.
Very cool.
So come out and support
That's
the
right.
film
Learn some more
festival.
things about your
Absolutely.
Caribbean culture.
That's it.
Right.
and Maroons all over.
Yes.
Not just Jamaica.
Right, exactly.
All right. Well, thank you so much
Man,
for,
wow.
for the love
For
that
having
you
Marco.
brought.
me.
Yeah, we
telling us
appreciate
your
it.
stories.
Yes.
Emotional.
No, it's
course.
okay, because that's what it's all about.
Yes.
Because even with Mom, almost that close to her 100th.
6 weeks.
Yeah.
You know,
Well, we
and
can
I'm
say
not
technically she was 100,
I was
right?
gonna say yes.
Well, she was honored at the Georgia State Capitol. One of our
Congratulations.
state senators
Yes.
sponsored it because he said she had reached her 100th year.
See,
Yes,
that's-
yes,
right.
yes. She was in that year, so
Right.
I love that. But you know what? Not only that, the fact that you had her
Yes.
for that 100th year,
Right.
what a blessing!
With all her
What a
faculties.
blessing! And
Yeah.
that's my point. And you did her story, so you just got to get it out there. There's
yeah.
so many persons who would want to be in your shoe,
Yeah, but, you
and
know-
that's why we've got to start documenting
Telling our
everything,
stories.
telling our stories.
When you get together for Thanksgiving or Christmas, all we need
That's
is
it.
this.
Record
we don't
it.
Have to get
Record it.
fancy.
That's
You
right.
can get fancy if you want to healthier. But if not, just capture it.
Yes,
Just
yes.
capture
Right.
it.
And that's why you have a healthier, because guess what? You capture it and then you contact her and say,
Right.
healthier.
Make
Make
this-
it.
Make it into a film.
Let-
and we
let-
get
leave it to
see
her.
it.
That's
Thank
it.
you so much, Monica.
Wow.
It is
Thank
a
you all for
pleasure.
What a
having
pleasure.
me.
What a
right.
pleasure. We
Glad
look
to be able to
forward
talk
to
about this.
Oh my goodness. I
So we
can't
hope
wait.
you viewers tune in, come in and see the film
Yes.
on Saturday.
Saturday,
That's
the 21st.
21st, right.
Yes.
21st.
Beginning at 10:30. from
10:30. We didn't say
until 5.
5. So there's
Perfect.
4 films.
4 films.
So come on, enjoy.
I'm not going to be starving. We have refreshments.
Always have
Awesome,
good refreshments
awesome.
before.
And
That's
then you
right.
like, you subscribe, and you share this information, because
Right.
so many people, this is not just for kicks, laughter and whatever. Yes, that too. But Speak Harmony is what we do. We bring people together.
Thank you.
And I will confess right now publicly that I did this strategically because I wanted you to connect with Healthier, because that's what we do. We bring people together.
I like to do
APAT
that, too.
Media is all about that, collaborating. It's not just you and them and they. It's us.
Right. No
Yeah.
man
We're
or
family.
woman is an island.
None.
There we go.
We're one family, one love.
Right.
Speak Harmony.
Thank you
Speak
all.
harmony. We're so thankful.
Blessings.
Yes.
Wow. And this is another closeout. We hate to do this, but glad to have you all here. Look forward to seeing the other folks next Tuesday, but Friday
Tune
after
in,
Saturday.
that's
will be
right.
there.
Tune in and turn up and share next week, Tuesday.
Yes.
We'll be here again, 7 p.m. with some more guests.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you
Blessings.
all so much.
Thank you for coming in. Appreciate you.
Okay.
So I need another chair. This chair.
Meetings of the mind, where wisdom is shared. Tamara and Sharon, a duo prepared to light up the path, to bridge every gap. Access meets opportunity, there's no turning back. Forward with fortitude, the future's in sight. Together we rise like stars in the night. Authenticity reigns, love leads the way. We're speaking in harmony every single day. Speak harmony, let your voice intertwine. So let's move forward, ever bold and true. With Sharon and Tamara, the vision